We are live. Hello, everybody. Hey, Jornea.
Hello.
Jess.
Hello. Hello.
How are ya?
Great.
Wonderful. Excited.
I think it's a special week this week, right?
It is. Happy Digital Citizenship Week.
Absolutely. And we know how important it is for everyone to be digital citizens. And so today we are focusing our webinar all about how you can ensure that your students learn how to be great digital citizens.
Absolutely. And today we have some incredible special guests that are joining us to talk about all things digital citizenship. It's hard for me to say for some reason. Digital citizenship.
Oh my gosh. Well, yeah. So joining us today, we are so excited to welcome not only the co-founder and executive director from I Can Help, but their student lead intern. So we would love to welcome Kim Carr. And, oh no, we just lost Mallory. She'll be back. Come back.
She's thriving. Wi-Fi thriving.
Oh my gosh. Kim Carr, welcome. Co-founder, exec director of I Can Help and one of our Discovery Library partners. We're so excited to welcome you.
So thank you so much for having us. We are so excited to be here.
Oh my gosh. Well, Mallory's going to, I think, join right back in, friends. So when she gets back on, we'll add her to the conversation. She is the student lead intern. And the really cool thing we just found out, all of the topics from I Can Help that are in the Discovery Library are written for students, by students. But Kim, here we go. Here she is, everybody. It's Mallory.
Oh, sorry. I'm having a bit of a connection problem, but no worries.
Even worry. Mallory, we just introduced you and said when you joined back in, folks know that you were the student lead intern. And the cool thing about student created topics by students for students, and we'll totally dig into that. But I thought, Kim, if you wouldn't mind, I want to go ahead and share, goodness gracious, I Can Help and have you share what is it and what do we need to know about your mission and the work that you're doing?
Yeah, definitely. Well, our biggest thing, I love that you've got that pulled up. The students is part of a solution for everything. We get our mission, we get to celebrate youth innovation, we get to empower student change makers, and we get to promote digital safety. So it's all three of those pieces. It's just all about digital citizenship, digital literacy, digital wellness, especially right now with mental health is crazy. Suicide is the number 2 cause of death for 10 to 24-year-olds. And that's increasing with the times that we're in right now. So we are just here. We're like, I'm the only full-time employee. We've got over 100 students helping us with our curriculum, with our leadership piece. And then we have volunteers. And we have adult volunteers. We have company sponsors. And that's how we're kind of leading the course on our projects.
Oh my gosh, I love that. So, I mean, even on the screen, lead, educate, and the community. And Mallory, so you're coming in as the student lead intern. Can you tell us a little bit about your role and what that means?
Yes, absolutely. So I've been with I Can Help for the past 2.5 years. I was originally a Digital for Good winner, which is our annual event that we put on every year where we celebrate youth innovation. After that, becoming an intern, I was able to work my way up to becoming the lead. So what I do now is I oversee all of our interns. So we currently have 9 interns and 60 specialists. And underneath them, we have 150 volunteers. So all of us come together in different committees to be able to make different projects happen. So it's all about student voice and making sure that we are using our student initiative on every project that we do. We currently have interns from 19 different states and 4 different countries.
Oh my God.
Wow.
And, I do have a question, Mallory. As a student, what are some of the issues that students are facing right now when it comes to digital citizenship? Because back when I started teaching in 2003, we focused a lot on online safety. That was just when students were maybe getting used to using devices, protecting their information. But now digital wellness is so important, as Kim mentioned that stat about students when it comes to suicide rates. So can you share a little bit, what are students facing when it comes to digital citizenship in 2020?
Yes, it's so hard to create a balance with the digital world, especially right now with remote learning. Our whole entire world is online and we're constantly on our computers, on our phone, and we never get a break from it. So to be able to create that balance is one thing that we really try and do as an organization. We recently worked with Twitter for their Twitter for Good Day, and we learned a couple different ways where we can be able to manage everything. So this whole online world is extremely overwhelming, can definitely affect our mental health. One thing that we're taught to do is definitely set screen time limits for ourselves. This is something I learned myself from Twitter, but you can actually set a reminder once you've been on an app for more than an hour or even less. And definitely checking your screen time is one way to be able to take a break and do something for yourself to be able to take that mental health break, because students right now are extremely overwhelmed in the world.
That's a great reminder too, just regarding the sense of balance, like what that means like for your own mental health, but especially, I always use the phrase, this hyper-connected digital world, right? Yeah. And I know there are apps that help with that mindfulness, or even I live by setting a timer on my phone all the time, but sometimes locking yourself out of something. I know there's another app where like you can grow a digital tree while you're remaining off of your device. So yeah. Oh my gosh, that's a great reminder, and something simple to do to kind of like change a practice, right?
Right, absolutely.
And something that we need as adults as well. Like I have all of those timers set, because even it just popping up, and even if you're not done on the app, but it's telling you, hey, you've hit your limit, and you can say like 15 more minutes or whatever, but it puts that in your mind, right? To just be at least aware of it. That's awesome.
I think one of the interesting things too is the overlap of not only living in this connected world, but folks using technology in their personal life, whether it's sharing a story or staying connected to community, especially in the light of a global health pandemic where we're all connected now in new ways. But as students are connecting online, or that technology is being used for education, the awareness and the learning, those are critical pieces for educators to be aware of, or folks to be even more mindful of. And I love that as we dig into, and I want to head into the Discovery Library because I'm so excited about your topic.
Yeah.
I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and get that. Friends, if you are new to Flipgrid, built right into your educator account is this area called Discovery. And I'm just going to click on it and sort of start from the beginning again. And then Kim have you, and we'll get Mallory joined in again. But we have this database of topics. Jornea, do you want to explain what Discovery is?
Oh, great. So Discovery is just a wonderful place for educators to share their best topics, but also to find their next topics to engage students in discussion. And what's really neat is we have almost 30 partners who have made a commitment to make their resources available to all educators around the world for free. So you'll find these topics inside of Discovery, which are ready to launch for you, and also include additional resources for you to learn more.
Yeah, so I love seeing this I can help tile right here. And if friends, when they click on it, they're going to pop right into your partner page. And Kim, you mentioned the work and the mission that you're doing, but do you maybe want to share a little bit about the content that you have, and then we'll dig into it?
Yeah, absolutely. So we created the one where it's just like about introduction, just because, so like right there, the top popular topics. I love that that's the most popular one. Is just what's your most used emoji, because in order to get students talking about this, like you have to start with the basics. So like just start with something simple, start with something fun. And then that's when they kind of, that conversation can start. So when they get a videotape that, video themselves, what their favorite emoji is, then you get to see their personality. So just start that engagement with these. That's what we started the introduction. But then if you go down even more, like Mallory brought up the screen time one. So it's called screen time, right there. Yeah. So that one, again, Mallory is 20 years old and she didn't even know about screen time. And I will attest that she is always on TikTok. Like I know that she dives in. What's so cool is she actually learned from a junior in high school about screen time. So junior in high school is the one that was like telling her what to do and how to do it, right? So that's where you can now have it's a discussion in class, have them record themselves talking about their screen time.
Well, I love that. So in the integration notes, which are your notes as the topic creators to any educators using them, you talk about like creating this comfortable and safe space to start these organic conversations, right? And this GIF is cracking me up. I remember this show, but like, even begin having the conversations, that's a great place to start.
Oh, 100%. And what's so funny about this is like, I kind of started the project of the Flipgrid piece. And then basically I will tell you every single thing that I selected was removed and replaced by students because they're like, no, we need to do this one. So, and that's what they're there for, right? Like, they're like, this is going to resonate with our age group more. So I think it's so funny to see. I started as the educator and then they spin it, make it more student friendly.
I love that.
That's fantastic.
Well, and that's the beautiful thing, right? Student voice and empowering that to be authentic and, authentic for themselves and the audience that they're connecting with. So
yeah.
Now you have a few of these collections and I wanted to pop into some of them. The digital wellness one, if we explore some of those topics together, you referenced the one about the most used emoji and I love that, but the digital wellness piece about pressure or this eCPR, you want to talk about like what eCPR is?
Yeah, absolutely. So actually this is kind of great because we actually got a grant last year from Providence Health and Wellbeing Trust to create mental health curriculum because we really believe mental health should not be just talked about with counselors and health teachers. It should be every single educator and even students should be having these conversations with their peers. Because it's so important. We had so many students show up to our Twitter event about digital wellness because it's affecting them. So this is actually a great add-on. So we actually have it featured. So all of our curriculum, it comes with the PowerPoint, it comes with the different things. And so that's inside here. So this is the eCPR, which means emotionally connect, partner, and respond. So if a kid comes to you as a peer or comes to you as a student, they say, hey, I'm cutting myself or I have thoughts of suicide. There's the PowerPoints right there where you can go through the PowerPoint of like, how do I emotionally connect with them? How do I partner with them? How do I respond to this? So it walks them through it step by step. Each PowerPoint comes with a facilitator note, so you know what to say. We honestly have had students do the presentations, but of course, with the model, with the teacher side by side, because we really believe it's educators and students walking with them side by side in this process, that they need that because it's a proven fact that 48% of students are not turning to adults, they're turning to peers or they're turning to online resources for information.
Oh my goodness.
Fantastic.
Yeah, I'm blown away. I really encourage any educator who's watching right now to go to Discovery and add this topic because as Kim mentioned, this is providing students with a way and also resources to know how they can help their peers. And so if it's at their fingertips, they know exactly where to go, how to find it, and support, their friends as well.
And our favorite one that Mallory's actually really good about, tell them about the self-care one. Oh, did she freeze again?
Oh no!
Well, while we're waiting for her to come back, I'll hop in real quick. And I think that just what you're sharing, Kim, it brings a whole nother meaning to what it is to be a citizen, right? And we think so often in the classroom, there's this separation between the teacher and the student. And I think that you're really these ways to even the playing field. And like you said, of having peers walk side by side because they are turning to each other a lot more than they're running to an adult. I know I taught middle school. That's an age where you're going to your friends before you're going to any teacher, no matter how comfortable you feel with them. So it's a citizenship within the classroom as well, which I think is so needed.
Well, and that's what we try to say. We always say it's adults walking side by side with students, not in front of them and not behind them. Because in this world, it's so hard because I need Mallory in my life to understand and to be able to educate her age group because she's the one that will tell me about when cancel culture came big. Like they're the ones who started, we knew about it before it even was big on the news because all the students were talking to us about it first. Right. And like they're telling us about what the new trends are on TikTok because that's their world.
Yeah.
I follow teachers on, teacher TikTok. I don't, but they send me what's popular as from their age group. They send me the new trends on their age group.
Wow.
So that it gives me kind of that, it gets me that head, gets me side by side with them instead of ahead of them or behind them.
Right. And even just that small thing of you saying how you would write the topics and then they would rewrite them. It's that they know what's best, right?
I love that. I love that too. And Mallory, one thing that we're thinking is you can talk about a specific topic or one of the favorite topics that you've helped create or use. But I think that one big piece too, Jornea and Jess, you've already referenced it. These are here as resources. And oftentimes people don't know where to find this content or content that's rich or relevant or meaningful. And this is here for anybody who wants to use it. And I love not only you can, pop into the collections, whether it's wellness, first responder, or digital for good, but scroll them and click a few because, wow, Kim, hearing that presentation slide resource, not only for peer-to-peer support, but educator to facilitate those safe conversations. That's incredible.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. And it's fun because we get people like Mallory who get to kind of have that. Mallory, do you want to dive into the Digital for Good one? Just because she was a Digital for Good winner and her project was amazing. And then it's fun to be able to see what other students are doing too.
Yes, absolutely. So Digital for Good, as I mentioned earlier, is our annual event that we put on every year where we recognize students who are using social media and their online resources to create change. So we've had all different types of projects. When I originally was a winner, I did a project with a group of students at my school, and we partnered with our district attorney. And it was about social media safety and the connection between social media and human trafficking. And after that, that's how I got involved with the program. But Digital for Good has just really bloomed into a huge event that takes place every year at a tech company, typically. And we have our winners come in and give Shark Tank speeches, as well as they're able to pitch their project the next day. And it's a live broadcasted event. It got 1.2 million impressions last year.
Wow.
Thank you. Yes. And this year is going to be incredible. We're hoping to have it in spring. And our projects this year are just really blowing us away. But we're always looking to celebrate new youth innovation. And this year, we're actually adding in a mental health piece. Kim, do you want to touch a little bit about the new mental health piece we're adding in?
Yeah, so right now we currently have 10 winners that are already selected for 2020. But because we're seeing so much mental health being an issue, we really wanted to spotlight that even further. So Providence Health is wanting us to select one more winner. And so November 9th, nominations are going to go up to anyone who is doing cool work in the digital space that's around the mental health component. And we'll select that winner before in December and announce that so we can have them in with the winners for 2020 in the springtime.
Oh my gosh.
But all those videos that we have are all made 100% by students, student voice. And so we love when schools and students team up with us to showcase that. One, I'm going to be able to add on to Flipgrid is all about college submission. So we had a student who, because it's such a pressure time right now. And so the conversations, it's going to spark lots of conversations and how much pressure there is. So that video was actually made because of an intern last year telling her story about the pressure she was going through. And I was like, this sounds like a video. Let's make it into a video. So I teamed up with a video student. He made it, and it took him a year because he's really into short films. And it's so powerful to see what these students can do online.
Oh my gosh. Well, that makes my teacher heart happy too, to hear about, the flexibility of providing a pathway for somebody to share their authentic journey, but with the awareness and increased awareness, not only of social emotional learning, mental health awareness, the conversations, having the conversations or trying to facilitate a start to the conversation, but honoring and respecting that student's voice and their journey. That's so powerful. And Mallory, when you said that you had that, over 1 million impressions, that's the kind of stuff that needs to go viral, right? The Digital for Good is what that positive noise out there needs to be. So congratulations on incredible things you all are doing.
Thank you so much.
Oh my gosh.
Well, we're here.
And we're not done. We're going to be influencers even more this year. So they all know, everyone's realizing how much this is, needed and impactful.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, now more than ever.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I was just gonna say, I'm looking at the comments. We have friends from not only Northern California, Albania. We have friends from Malaysia joining in. This conversation already is reaching around the world, but as educators supporting their community. It's an honor to have your content in the Discovery Library, and hear more about what's coming or possibilities to get involved.
Yeah, absolutely. And I actually had a conversation with Chris about getting more international groups that are educational innovators, because we're part of the 100, which that's what they get recognized as educators that are innovators. So I'm excited to bring more cool projects to you guys.
Oh my gosh, that's so
That's
cool.
a good segue, because I really would love to know, Kim, maybe what is some advice that you have for educators getting started to ensure that they are creating those safe spaces for their students to learn about digital citizenship and also to apply it? And then again, Mallory, what advice do you have for students when really seeing things online and taking a stance, maybe against some things that they don't really believe in, that may be harmful or hurtful to others? So if you two can speak on those, as we have our friends from around the world watching.
Yeah. I think my best advice I have for people and why students do feel comfortable coming to me is because most adults get fearful and frightened. They get so fearful and even frustrated. So they get fearful, frustrated, and frightened by what these students are telling them and showing them. Where me, I just kind of like sit there and I just patiently listen, because that's what they need. They need someone to listen to them and really truly hear them. And when you actually hear them and you kind of like, all they want is to have someone to kind of talk to about it. And they can usually figure out the answer themselves once they've kind of come back to it. But because adults, this is a new world to them. But same thing with my mom. Like I was a different world than when she was raised. and so it is just having them have a person to come to and not get so frustrated, fearful, and frightened, right? It is just truly, I'm actually excited. Like they have answers at their fingertip, and more put the power of them and empower them how to use it correctly and inspire them to use it correctly, then they'll be more likely not to use it in the wrong kind of way. And show them these stories, right? Show them like, look what this little 13-year-old is doing. Like, it's amazing. And Mallory's even inspired by, what is she? The kind girl, like she's 11, right? The kind girl rock.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. We've had so many projects that are started by these young students. I know one is This Life Rocks. I think she's like 10 years old maybe, and she's been one of my absolute favorites to follow. Even Live Bits, I think she's just turned 13. We love
I was just gonna bring her up. Love her.
Yes, Live Bits is incredible. But I find myself like the most inspired by the students who are almost like 14 age range. They're incredible and making huge impacts online.
Oh my gosh.
Absolutely.
So
it's cool that we're in this space now where we can be proactive about digital citizenship. I told you I can't say it. I'm thinking about whenever I was in school, and that's when technology was just starting to come in. We had one smart board in the entire building that was on wheels and could come around, but we we're all just kind of getting into it. And it's, then there was this gap of having to play catch up, of showing people what it's like to be a good citizen while you're using technology. And now I love that it's in this beautiful space of being proactive and teaching all of those things from a young age.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And I think that's why we're using the word. We're actually kind of going away from digital citizen. We're actually going towards more the digital wellness, because students aren't really getting that, but they're like, well, you feel better when you are nicer to people. Like that's what's getting affected. Right. So, and that's why we call it a digital first responder. No, we didn't get to that one either, but they weren't understanding like being an upstander. When you call it a digital first responder, they were understanding that because like you're the first one to the scene. You're the first ones who get to react. So that digital first responder one is just walking them through, hey, what do you do if you see a negative comment? How do you handle that? Like walks them through, make them think about it. And we even give them some suggestions of what they can do. So what do you do if someone makes a racial comment, especially with the Black Lives Matter? Like there were so many things that were reported to us. It was basically like, hey, let's walk you through what you can say.
Yeah. I love that.
I used to do almost like role play scenarios with my young scholars when they first got a device, and we went one-to-one. And I love this, like how would you, and having that practice almost to sharpen foresight in that moment. And I was going to ask Kim, and you referenced like shifting the conversation to digital wellness. With the teachers I worked with, I used to say, I think a day is coming where we're not going to put the word digital in front of citizen. It's just citizens. Like we're connected, we use technology, but it's a citizenship in a digital world. And so I love how you're calling and phrasing digital wellness instead.
Because it just resonates with them. I mean, same thing, like it's when does it cross the line of being fun and funny, and when does it cross the line of being inappropriate, rude, and cruel? So like, but they weren't getting it when we were saying inappropriate, because my inappropriate and their inappropriate are two different things, because they're raised with you know, the WAP now, right? Like like they're inappropriate and my inappropriate are two different things. So but when you say cruel, they know that cross the line.
Yeah. So I just popped open some of the other topics, and for folks who are tuning in, again, this is all of the I Can Help content that you just find right inside your Flipgrid Discovery Library. And if you want to use it, you can just go in, explore a collection, or save it for future use, or add it and use it immediately. And it's that simple to just go in, choose how you want to use it, and share it right away inside your own community. I love this. Oh my gosh. So many fantastic resources.
Yay. I love it.
All right. Well, Kim, too, I think Mallory, I just played with the video, too. I know that she's probably so frustrated, but it happens. Like, I have pressure washer on the windows when I was doing an event last week, and the dog started barking, and people in London were commenting, yeah, my dogs are barking now, too. It happens, right? It totally happens.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh. Well, we want to say thank you. I mean, I'm not ready to say bye to you if you guys don't want to know. Like, this conversation could just go on forever, but.
So I do have something, you know, and thanks so much for deciding to be a Discovery Library partner and bringing this awesome curriculum to students all around the world. What can we expect next from I Can Help? Is there something special you're working on?
Oh, we're always working on everything. So yes, we are creating a video course all about digital wellness and digital citizenship, because schools still have to kind of cross that off. They still need the digital citizenship to be able to cross the box off, right? Like, I feel like that's what schools do. But we're also making, the students really want to make an electronical toolkit for digital wellness. So basing around our emotional first aid kit. So emotional first aid kit, if you are feeling sad, lonely, and depressed, you know, if you cut yourself to go get a Band-Aid, but what do you do when you are feeling those things? You should go to your emotional first aid kit. Inside that is your sounds, which that's on the library as well. It walks you through it. Is your sounds, it's sights. So even like a screensaver, it's touch. So like a lot of people got pets during quarantine, right? Because of touch. So it's those pieces. And so we want to make an emotional first aid kit that goes along with that piece.
I love that.
Passed it up if you were trying to find it.
It's further
up.
Yes, further up. But yeah, it's honestly, but the big thing about mental health, it really is super simple. It's right there. There you go. It's really simple. It's just basically going back to the basics and remembering those things. So we want to make an emotional a toolkit for each of those things that we can then send out that have different things in there. So like sites, the students came up with like a PowerPoint of places they want to go to with fun facts about those places. Sounds, it's going to be like different playlists on a YouTube channel. We're trying to team up with companies like Twitter that can support us, help fund it, right? To be able to help do the graphics and things like that. So that's our next big project that we're working on.
Oh my gosh.
I love that so much.
Such awesome tips, you know, for students to really go to. I love that it's right there as your topic focus, so that a student can go right into that topic they have for the teacher, see that tip, and have a more positive reaction to something versus something negative. So thank you so much for creating that emotional toolkit. I think we all need that.
Oh yeah, thank you. And it really was a massive team. So it's super fun to do collaboratively with educators and students, because students have to be part of the solution, because that's the focus.
Absolutely.
Oh my gosh, absolutely. Well, Kim, one thing I love to ask partners too, I know I've shared it on screen before, but your website is icanhelp.net. That's one place they can get connected with you. I do have some other places I know. I'm going to go ahead and just share the screen again. Your website, not only that, your Instagram is icanhelp official. Your icanhelp Twitter, folks can just get connected and tune in and find more information. But what is the next step for folks if they're listening in and they're like, oh, okay, it's connect, right?
Yeah. Well, as all three of you know, being former educators, or every educator loves free stuff. That's why I love Flipgrid so much, because it is all free, right? So our website has even way more information. All of the mental health and the digital wellness stuff is all on our website, or it's at worktobewell.org. But it's all on our website too. But there's also a free, if you go to students, if you scroll all the way down, there's actually a virtual escape room that a student made. A sophomore in high school made it for I Can Help. She's one of our specialists. So at the very bottom, there's actually a free how to get started, like a club you can download right there. All that stuff is there. In the educator one, there's a parent guidelines. There's also there's a form that was made by students. What are the biggest social media apps? So this is where the students can volunteer. But if you keep going, keep going. That's where they can volunteer. Students can volunteer. But then below that, keep going. Oh, by the way, that's our zine. That's a magazine made by teens for teens, right? So our students by for students. You can sign up for the helper. And the digital wellness is all of our mental health free stuff. It's everything from self-care and mindfulness, stress, anxiety, and depression, and then the eCPR. You can start a club. It has a download, and then there's a virtual escape room. The educator one also has free stuff in there. It has the digital wellness, it has the parent guidelines, and it has the top social media apps.
Oh my God.
Talks about what the top ones are, like Discord. If you don't know it, Discord is the next biggest one that a lot of students are using right now. They're using it kind of like a group me. So on that piece, it talks about all the top things. So all educators and adults can be caught up to speed from the students.
Oh my gosh. Well,
super helpful.
I haven't heard of Discord. And, as you mentioned, you have to listen to students. They're the ones who are finding the apps, using the apps for various purposes. And of course, even though they might be digital natives in a sense, they might not know how to utilize technology for their best needs or others' best needs. And I think that's where the education piece comes in educators really creating those safe spaces in classrooms so that students can really talk about these issues that they're seeing and facing outside of their classroom in a digital space. So
yeah, 100%. Yeah, absolutely. Like they always think they know more, and they do. There's some things they do know more, but then we know more on other things. So it's like, again, we walk side by side together so we can keep that process going.
Kim, we had a question come in from Facebook as how can folks localize it? Like it's a global org, like they can take the content and just start using it, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, that's what it's there for. And so like I said, we've gone to Hong Kong. Actually, Mallory's gone with me to speak. We went to Hong Kong and we've gone to India. And then now next week, her and I are going to Turkey, I forget. And we're going there to be able to teach these educators on a webinar on how to use our, curriculum and how to, kind of continue that going. Absolutely. So that's what it's there for.
Oh my gosh. One thing that I'm always like, I mentioned discovery is like a treasure chest of resources, not only for educators to use right inside their classroom, but for me as a lifelong learner, for me as somebody wanting to continue, that's what we're all doing, right? So I know Jess, Jornea, and I talk about all kinds of things as educators, right? But modeling and facilitating something or promoting it. So the resources you just shared are like a jackpot at the end of this information rainbow of goodness. Yeah. And it's shifting narratives and providing positive resources going forward. So it has been an absolute treat getting to hear more about what you are doing at I Can Help. And we are so appreciative your time and Mallory's time joining in and sharing. Goodness gracious. so inspired.
Yeah.
No, I love what you guys have been doing. Your Flipgrid stuff has been amazing, and your energy and your passion for education is so awesome. So thank you for providing this space for people to support people.
Well, you are welcome. Goodness. Please thank Mallory. I know she was having some camera issues, but it was an absolute treat. And let's connect down the way and continue the conversation, right? Because Digital Citizenship Week is, maybe we celebrate it 1 week a year, but it's every day of every year and the actions that we choose and how we choose to share. So we would love to continue the conversation.
Yes.
I love it. Thank you.
Oh my gosh. All right. Well, I'm going to go ahead and shift over to Jess and Jornea. Kim, thank you again. We appreciate it. All right. We'll see you down the line.
Bye.
Oh my gosh. I love that conversation.
Yeah. Wow.
Much to learn and so much to know. And, we know, at least educators are familiar with ISTE standards when it comes to digital citizenship. There's standards for teachers, there's standards for students. Perfect. Look, Anne has her books right there, ready to go. Look, Anne, look, up, there we go.
Oh no, mine are in the other room.
I can't,
but I do have them written down.
Right.
But the neat thing about this, and especially when it comes to Flipgrid, is when I first started using Flipgrid, I saw it as that place. And I know I visited Jess's classroom. We talk about how important it is to build a classroom community that is safe and welcoming. And relationships are highly important. And so we know not only when students are physically in the classroom, but as you mentioned earlier, Anne, our world right now is where students are in so many different types of classrooms, whether it's a hybrid situation or full face-to-face or remote learning. Today I saw a new term. Oh gosh, what was it called? Concurrent learning. That was the first time that I had seen that one pop up. Where teachers are, teaching students in the classroom, but they also have students online at the same time. And so we know all of those opportunities are opportunities for students to learn, but also can present challenges too for students when it comes to being digital citizens, right? And so let's kind of talk about maybe the Flipgrid platform. And as teachers are getting started with Flipgrid, what are some elements that we have built in by design with Flipgrid to ensure that students have a safe and positive learning environment?
Well, I love that you prompt that, Jornea, and I know you just said it. The three of us talk about relationships all the time and building a community of learning as a community of collaborators, conversation partners, thought partners. But I do think, and I'm not kidding, like I keep this on my desk all the time because as educators, what are we doing? It is that facilitation, it is that modeling, it is that promotion of all of these things. And what does that look like? That looks different, but there are some specific tools you have built into Flipgrid that you can use immediately to kind of create those safe spaces. So I'm going to use this topic, if you will. I just call it my classroom grid, and I have a few things built into it, but I wanted to talk about the topic settings right away. And I'm just going to go ahead and edit this and show folks one of the things immediately that folks could be aware of is topic moderation, right? So when you think about facilitating a safe space, when you think about providing your students a pathway to share authentically, sometimes that's not all happy sunshine. It might be truth. There might be pain. There might be some hurt associated with it. Consider using that topic moderation. And we've seen really great examples of folks who have like a virtual help desk or a virtual teacher office hour or inbox. I think of Eric Garcia's topic, My Inbox, which is just one way you as the educator are saying, hey, you can share. This is a safe space to share. But all folks are doing is turning on that topic moderation. And what that means is videos remain private to the educator, right? So friends, it's just a toggle. It's just a toggle right there. And if you set up a topic with this enabled, it means videos will be hidden and not publicly visible. If you create a topic and share it out and then choose to enable this, just please note previously submitted content is remaining active. You can just go and hide that content if needed.
Yeah, and go ahead, Jess.
I was going to say, can we show what that looks like? So once we hit update topic, but if we have videos that are already active, let's just show what it looks like in order to hide them.
Oh my gosh, let's see. Here is one that has some topics on it. So I use this Monday topic all the time. And here are my samples, right? So I have some active ones, but these ones are all hidden. And let's say I wanted to hide them all. I can literally just click on all of them and then hide all of the responses at one time. Jess, a great indicator is this little red hand, right? So it's this visual for educators to just know the topic is moderated.
And it's a quick and easy snapshot too. So if you, like Anne mentioned, if you do go ahead and moderate something after videos are already submitted, you can quickly go in, change it so fast.
Yeah. So, guys, these are features of Flipgrid, but educators bring the magic. And so when you toggle on that moderation, let's say this is your first time really using Flipgrid and you want to create that safe space, you might want to have those videos moderated and maybe release one at a time and model what is the most appropriate way to make a video comment back to a student, how to make a text comment back to a student. Do it as a class so that students also have the understanding of maybe what is expected within this space. And also share, like, once again, if you do see a comment that might be maybe inappropriate, what are the correct steps in order to address that? How to be an upstander, how to maybe use that toolkit to either help someone if they hear, maybe some terms or words that are hurtful or harmful to someone or themselves. And so, I think our role as educators, once again, is not only to provide these opportunities for our students to learn, but also to be there as a support for them in their emotional states as well as they are learning, because so much is going on at one time.
Absolutely. And this was something that I used in my classroom. I used the moderation feature, especially at the very beginning. Whenever students were learning how to use Flipgrid, I love to just turn it on ahead of time so that just not even because they were afraid of showing their faces or anything like that, but just so that they knew best practices and that they could kind of get the hang of things that are appropriate, things I should be saying and not saying, and how to watch my speech and all of that kind of thing. So I turned it on for a week or a month just so that my students knew the videos were coming to me only first. And then from there, I was able to kind of lighten the reins a little bit, so to speak.
Well, I just went into the little help center that we have embedded within, and I just searched moderate. But all of these results are there just as a quick reminder of what folks can do if they're looking for topic moderation. The new text comment feature is another powerful way to extend dialogue, but educators moderate those the same as any video response. Jornea, you mentioned like modeling, right? I'm gonna remove this real quick from here we go, and we'll come back like this. So modeling appropriate behaviors, demonstrating that positive example, create it together, right? There were oftentimes as a coach, I went into classrooms and I was like, let's do this together. One, we got to click all the buttons and model the workflow, but two, talk about those positive or, sometimes being silly. What shouldn't we do? What's something we shouldn't do? And I worked with a lot of K2 scholars, so that was always like a fun way to bring in the dialogue about what's appropriate, what's not appropriate. But what other things I've seen folks do is have sentence frames, even for your youngest scholars. What does it mean to give feedback? How do we give constructive feedback? What does it mean to comment on a peer's video? So those conversations, I always called them critical conversations that educators should be having with their students. And I, as the tech coach, was having them with teachers saying, this is a critical conversation I'm having with you because you should be having it with your students, right?
Yeah. And I hear all the time from educators, sometimes they use Flipgrid as that entry point for their students to know how to interact in a digital space because they know it is a safe space. And inside of Flipgrid, the teacher can determine who has that access. And if it's just that class with that access, they can set that up in the topic settings to make it that safe space. But what's really neat is if students are interacting in a positive way inside of Flipgrid, more than likely, once they get into other platforms where they have a little bit more freedom to like the outside world, they may make better choices in how they're posting, what they're watching, etc., based upon what they're learning in the classroom.
Yeah.
Absolutely, especially as they get older, because even super young learners are using Flipgrid. And so those best practices are being instilled in them from the get-go.
So I just brought this up on the screen too, because as we talk about this new feature, we knew a little bit about it. And let me just take that back and start the sentence again. We knew as we were testing out the new text comment feature, but here in the blog, and friends, all I did was just go to the Flipgrid blog, and then I clicked right into latest and got to our October newsletter. But you see text comments, and one of the really cool things is to help ensure a supportive learning environment. Text comments are automatically reviewed, and learners are encouraged to revise potentially insensitive text. So this is like this AI feature built into it that it's not allowing folks to submit harmful text comments. And again, educators can choose to moderate if they want, but modeling, facilitating, practicing, repeating, those are all best practices as you're using these kinds of tools as you grow in the community, right?
And I think that's what Kim was bringing up with the digital wellness. How does that make one feel when they see or hear comments? Might be hurtful, and how does that make you feel if you are the one that is making those comments? So that digital wellness topic that she shared, I think was just so critical. I think for every classroom, I can see that being something revisited throughout the school year, almost like a check-in about your digital wellness, to see how you're doing, how can you improve, because it's all about that improvement in learning. So
So I'm coming into this collection, and friends, we're just back in discovery again. I don't want to zoom around on the page so quickly that anybody gets seasick, but if you click on discovery, not only the incredible partner content, like the folks at I Can Help, let's check out that SEL collection. And then there's another tile in Discovery Partners, Jess, Jornea, I think we should talk about and some of the stuff they have in there too, right?
Yeah.
All right.
Sure.
So this is just an SEL playlist. And I know the three of us have had a lot of conversations, especially this spring when everything shifted and folks were finding themselves in a remote learning situation. And as conversations shifted, as we now are trying to move forward as a country in light of horrific events and conversations about race and equity and justice, and folks' mental health is a serious consideration in an unprecedented school year. So SEL is very needed regarding social emotional learning and wellness, right? As humans, as communities, as students, as educators. And so this collection to me is so powerful. And I'm just going to scroll through and talk about some of the topics, but checking in with yourself, your brain matters, express yourself. This is fabulous. This is using art to express yourself, right? And what does that mean? So I love that even partners like the Metropolitan Museum of Art are listed in these SEL topics, right?
Absolutely. Because, that's a part of everything that we do and who we are, right? So, social and emotional learning is highly important. And I do want to highlight Bunsey. They have a full playlist for social and emotional learning that educators can launch with their students. And these templates are very appealing too for students as well. So I think it provides a good entry point if you're looking for how to really get started and talking about students' social and emotional needs with them. Look at the first one, make your own affirmation cards. When I went to visit Jess's classroom, she had a whole affirmation board that her students went and posted. Well, you can make that digital, and Bunsey has a topic template to be able to do so. So I love that.
Yeah, Jornea, you were talking a little bit ago too about how often we talk about relationships and how important those are in the classroom. And this is just a testament to that. Another tile that I love to show off is that we have one called Conversation Starters. And Kim touched on this when she was showing the emoji topic that she had of just something that is not super, super deep or super pedagogical or anything, and just saying, hey, tell me what emoji is your most recent, just to get your students talking. Yeah. And it really is that first step. And so this conversation starters list is just fun things, not only to get your students familiar with the platform, but just to get to hear from them as human beings, as opposed to just as students. And I think that is something that is so important when we're talking citizenship in general.
So citizenship and this whole idea of digital wellness now is like this phrase, and I love that.
I love it so much.
I know. I think I'm probably going to shift the way that I even refer to it. Yeah. But this just caught my eye. I'm looking at that stat, that 13 years in these 22 topics alone, 13 years worth of conversation has happened.
And so, my brain is going back to that ISTE standard. So we can tell by that stat that teachers are creating those experiences for learners that will help them make those positive decisions within their learning environment. So thank you, educators, for just bringing the magic to your students and setting up your classrooms, however they may be, to be that space where students can express themselves, use their voice, learn from diverse perspectives, and really empower others to do the same.
Going into, not only do I have my 2 books for educators and for students, but I have the printout of the one for coaches, right?
Sure you do.
Of course I do. It's the one for coaches. There it is. But so it talks about, and I've said these words already, model, promote, facilitate, but the safe use, the healthy use, the legal use, the ethical use of digital information, right? But also modeling and promoting, what does it say? Diversity, cultural understanding, global awareness, are we in what's called the digital age communication, right? So in this hyper-connected digital world, I, as a professional, I, as an educator, I, as a person, am using tech to communicate, to collaborate locally, globally. And that's the world our students are growing up in, right?
Yep. Yeah, definitely. And, a part of, digital citizenship too is what you consume and understanding, what is a legit resource versus something that's not. And so, I know for sure inside of Flipgrid, when educators are creating those topics, they have the opportunity to add in attachments. So educators can add in resources for students to explore articles. But what Anna's showing right now is that we also have partners that really help educators and students understand what being, digital literate really is all about, and how to identify sources that are appropriate versus sources that might be changed a little bit to bring forth a certain perspective. And so you'll notice she's clicking on the News Literacy Project, which is one of our newest partners. And you'll find topics such as what is misinformation, things about fake news, and really how to spot those things while students are online, because of course those are the things that may pop up and affect the students' digital wellness, right? And so super important.
Well, I even learned a life lesson in this today, right? I went on Twitter and tried to tweet something and saw that some things had been changed. And Kim from the I Can Help account said, let's talk about it today, right? In this conversation. But the lesson I learned was perspective and pausing for a moment before I share something on social media, right? And so this just caught my eye. I know it's one of their topics, but checking a date, checking a source, pausing for a moment before you post. There's a lot of helpful truth in actually doing that, you know?
Absolutely.
I love it. And I love how you had that reflection, you know, and the more you connect with others and have like that healthy conversation, the more you're open and you learn. And that's what I think where the diverse perspectives comes in, because I didn't know, but I learned from Kim today that students actually had a major role in changing how Twitter actually worked, because sometimes people are so quick to maybe retweet something that could be harmful or hurtful to someone else. And so they advocated to change that practice, and that change happened today, and we all recognize that today. And so kudos to the students for using their voice for positive change. And, you know, although it's a different workflow, we totally understand the story behind it and the message behind it and the reason. So thanks to all the students involved in making that happen.
Yeah, I just popped into another partner. This is the Pacer Center. They have a National Bullying Prevention Center, but their collections are super powerful. I know there's different awareness months every month of the year, but as we're talking about digital citizenship and digital wellness and anti-bullying, and today is Unity Day, and I saw so many incredible tweets, not only from like celebrities, but even our own PLN and educators. I know the topic of the day was one of Pacer Center's kindness acrostic poems, but I just wanted to pop in again because all of these resources are available at your fingertips right inside of Discovery. And they have these really great collections. And if you zoom in a little bit, you can kind of see they target some like actions, call to actions for elementary students, but sharing kindness, promoting acceptance, encouraging inclusion equals bullying prevention. And I wanted to click on this one for high school students, for example, and just sort of scroll through. And again, what we're seeing is having the conversations, facilitating that, providing a safe space to do that. And maybe the conversations are uncomfortable, but I think that's something we've all been going through together is lean in and learn on, even if it's a little uncomfortable, because you come out better from it.
Yes.
Absolutely.
And I love that students, once again, are the faces and the voices of these videos. You know, hearing from another student, from another student's perspective, I think is very powerful, you know, in classrooms. And, you know, once again, challenge your students too to be creators and create videos that also promote being digitally well as much as possible. These are phenomenal.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Well, friends, I don't know how, but like an hour has flown by. Like, and I just love that this conversation is starting, but I love that the conversation, it didn't just start today, it's continuing. Maybe that's a better way to say it. And it was an absolute treat to have Kim and Mallory from I Can Help come in. And again, friends, when you come into this discovery library, you literally just click on the partners and you can find their topics. You can also search for other topics that educators from around the world are sharing. So it has been an absolute blast to have this conversation and talk about digital wellness and what that means. So any final thoughts as we wrap up?
Now, just to dig in, go and see all of the resources that we have there for you already. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. And there are some incredible, I mean, I am so inspired by the things that Kim and Mallory shared with us today. There's so much in there. So just take the time and go and look.
Yeah.
And thanks, educators, for all you do to empower every voice. And that's what this is all about. So we really appreciate you taking the time, spending some time with us today, learning from Kim and Mallory. And Anne, you want to take us out?
We just want to say thank you. I mean, we're 3 teachers. We have the honor of serving you and walking alongside you as your friends, as encouragers, as supports. But the work that you are doing to empower every voice in your learning community and the work that you are doing to provide those kinds of supports and resources to help foster digital wellness in your own community is inspiring. Thank you for doing what you're doing. Please don't hesitate to reach out if we can help in any way. But on behalf of all of Team Flipgrid, I find that I do this all the time. I just have to say thank you for doing what you're doing, and you are true heroes. So we appreciate you tuning in. If you're catching this in the future on a replay, thanks for checking it out, and we'll see you out there, friends.
Bye, everybody.
Bye. I don't